because again, it is going to get quite windy. I do have some pretty significant updates from the last time that we were on air through 8 o'clock or through 9 o'clock on Kong and especially King. We have some good news out of all of this. We no longer under a high wind warning, but we have a wind advisory in place for much of the area. So let's dive right into it because we are going to still see some strong wind gusts. I mentioned we have that wind alert in place, a wind advisory. So the National Weather Service went ahead and canceled that high wind warning that was initially in place for Puget Sound and replaced it with a wind advisory because the winds are not expected to be nearly as strong. But don't let that catch you off guard though, and because we're still going to have some strong winds, sustained and strong wind gusts as we get this area of low pressure moving in. And thankfully it will be quiet later this evening, overnight, and we'll still have some passing showers around on Christmas Day, mountain snow as well, but it's going to start as a mix. That includes today. So once again, we are under first alert weather mode today, but only through the evening because of the risk for some strong winds, possibly some power outages, difficult travel. Rain is also in the mix, but we're not expecting much or big impacts from that, except if you're driving and there could be some slick spots because of ponding. A mountain mix because our snow levels are coming up, and minor coastal flooding, that's in place. We have a coastal flood advisory in place through noon today, and it's due to high tide, and that could lead to inundation of maybe a foot and a half. So this is in place, basically the first alert for much of western Washington. Southerly winds are going to peak between about noon and 6 o'clock from south to north. And once again, we could have some downed trees, tree limbs, and we could have some spotty power outages. We've been talking about this all week long, and I will say this forecast has been a headache, not just for you, but for meteorologists as well, because it all was dependent, the magnitude of the winds and the intensity, it all depends on the track of this area of low pressure. And it's been riding the coast between Oregon, California, and it's still stationed over the central coast, and it is quickly moving to, it looks like the northeast, and the farther inland it goes, the weaker the system would be, instead of just sitting off the coast and still intensifying, if anything. So we are not expecting this to be anything like the Columbus Day storm. A lot of people have asked, will it be anything like it? No, by no means will it be that way. We're not expecting anything all too significant, but given the fact that we are so saturated from the previous atmospheric rivers, again, it might not take much for trees to come down and power outages. Let's time out the rain first, and then we'll jump into the wind forecast, because this is what's going to impact you through the early afternoon as well. So here's around 12:30 as that low lifts to the north. It just races to the north, and our rain is going to quickly come to an end by maybe 4 or 5 o'clock from south to north. But then we're quiet overnight, maybe a little breezy, and on Christmas Day we're going to have one wave of rain moving in, lowering snow levels as well, but you see how quickly it's in and out of here. But if the kids are outside, maybe playing with toys or riding bikes, whatever, likely going to get a little wet at times with some incoming rain. Then we'll have a front moving in, lowering snow levels again. Wouldn't be surprised to see snow levels come down to about 1,500 feet, and maybe a rain and snow mix at some, maybe from Snohomish County northward, but for now we're not expecting anything major. I wanted to share this look outside as of 9:30 this morning. You see it's just gray, the cameras aren't bouncing around too much, but we also have some stronger wind gusts headed our way. This is the latest update from 9 a.m. So we're still expecting winds to quickly shift from the east and northeast out of the south by about midday. Wind speeds, sustained winds, will be 20 to 30 miles per hour. Gust 40 to 45 miles per hour, maybe some spotty gust around 50, but that forecast has come down significantly, which is a good thing. These are the estimated maximum gust we could see. And you see really around Puget Sound, anywhere between about 35 to maybe 45. Closer to the water, we could have wind gusts close to about 50 miles per hour. But once again, it may not take much to see some issues. Since midnight, here are some of our maximum wind gusts. Tacoma actually at one spot gusted to about 40 miles per hour. So again, this is not the main threat from the winds just yet. We still have northeasterly and easterly winds about 10 to 15 miles per hour. And as of 9:30, gusts aren't all too bad. Let's talk about the timing. This is one high resolution model. And again, all of this has gone down, which is a good thing, but it's not picking up on current trends right now. Let's take you through about noon, 1 o'clock. You see how winds start to quickly shift out of the south, and from south to north, they're going to spread to the north. So watch what happens. Here's 1 o'clock. You see 30 to about 45 miles per hour around Central Sound, 2 o'clock or so, and then moving to the north. Bellingham around a possible gust of 45, maybe 50. And then here's around 4:30. You see the South Sound starting to taper off. And then by 7 o'clock or so, most of us will see calmer winds. Here's another look at one of our models. This is the typical or our usual model we use when you see on TV. This is called the graph. And around lunch, you see how winds start to shift to from the south for the South Sound, then moving over Puget Sound, but it's not showing those really strong wind gusts that it was showing yesterday. However, we could have some breezy, maybe gusty conditions into Friday, but that wouldn't be everywhere. It would be more so the Cascade foothills and the gaps and maybe through the Strait. This is a good look at the timing so you can plan accordingly for the Cascade foothills. This is the central foothills, and it's showing later this morning. You see between about 1 and 3 o'clock, the maximum gust may impact you, again, out of the south, and then winds start to die down. Hood Canal, so Shelton, even closer to just the Kitsap Peninsula in general, you see by about 1 o'clock, 3 to about 4 o'clock, that's when our winds will likely peak for you, give or take an hour or so. Same for South Sound, except by about 7 o'clock, things really begin to settle on down. The Seattle area, very similar, except maybe peaking closer to 2 to maybe 5 o'clock or so. And then the east side, also under that wind advisory, peaking early to mid-afternoon, and then by the time Santa comes, winds are very, very calm. Everett, it's a little later for you, but still you get the trend. Mid to late afternoon for winds to peak. North Interior, pretty similar as well, maybe mid to late afternoon, early evening. So once again, we are under first alert weather mode for today, and then tonight things are really going to quiet on down. Your Christmas Day forecast is looking okay, nothing too impactful.